Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another broadcast here for Fast Break here for IE Sports Radio. Your week for all in sports. D-Locke, UConn won a last-second shot, and they're going back to the Final Four. Your thoughts on that last-second play by UConn?
Well, first of all, I don't understand how Duke doesn't call a timeout before that, but they found a way to get it done. That was a deep three-pointer. That was one of them Steph Curry threes. But it went in with 0.4 seconds left. That's why we watch college basketball March Madness. Real interesting. I did have them going to the Final Four in my bracket, but it's not perfect. I got some out there before not making it. But congrats to you for getting past the number one Duke.
Man, big game. We'll talk about that game off the top in the hour here, first topic of the show. Excellent weekend of basketball between the men's and women's. We'll discuss that as well. Plus, D-Locke, Hubert Davis finally got shown the door at UNC. We're looking to see who they might hire. And also, Will Wade weasel his way back to LSU as well. So we'll discuss all that. Also talk about maybe get to Luke and get suspended for the next game for the Lakers. So we'll keep tracking that and see how that goes for the Lakers. But this is Fast Break here for IE Sports Radio. You're for all sports. And we'll catch you on the other side after these messages.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clinking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Make that a little bigger. All right. What's good, everybody? Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. Wherever you at, it's going to be a very loaded show here tonight. As we talked about before, we went to the commercial breaks real quick. And shout out to the sponsors for making things happen here on the network. Also, the next couple months be very heavy. So subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the little bell notification. IE Sports Radio. Once we go live every Sunday at 7 or a little tad after, you get the notification. You'll see us. We're going to dive in all things basketball. All right. We're about a couple weeks away from the NBA ending. I'm looking at the Thunder and Knicks playing right now. Very good game right now going on in Oklahoma City. But D-Locke, the NCAA tournament is on and popping, is deep. And we got to jump into this one right here.
Mm-hmm.
We got to jump into this one right here. East Regional Final in D.C., UConn, number 2 seed, defeated Duke 73-72 in a tight finish. UConn advances to the Final Four. And Duke, once again, just kind of falls short when the time matters in these situations. Whereas like against NC State about 3 years ago, Final Four last year. Now this matchup here, which they led most of the way, including double-digit leads in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
And what me and you discussed before we got into the show, that second half, and we'll talk about here theme of the show, you can't let a team like UConn build momentum to kind of make a game at itself. I'm not saying Duke had game one, but you have double-digit team like this, you know, scoring very well, down low, getting nice passes, nice hockey assist passes, all that jazz. And you come out and lose 1 point like you did, not great. But D-Locke, your thoughts on how this game went in your eyes, and were you surprised by the result?
I mean, I did have Duke beating UConn in my bracket, believe it or not. But a lot of my bracket is not right, but that's one of the things that I got right. But so I'm not too surprised. I think, you know, we talked about it last time we were on the show about these teams that have the experience and they peak at the right time. They've been here. UConn is a team that's been here. Now, you know, I'm not going to jump too far off, but UConn women had a hell of a game earlier today as well. Yes. So that is a motivation thing for this men's team, and vice versa. So I think that, you know, knowing that, I talked about it before. Coaching is everything, right? Especially at this point of the season in this tournament. Two great coaches, great programs. Now every possession counts. So I'm not surprised of UConn winning. I'm just surprised of how they won. For that possession to go down how it did was very shocking. You know, UConn is up by 2. I'm sorry, Duke is up by 2. UConn is trying to get the ball, and, you know, it falls in their favor. Now, even playing great defense, the next thing you got to do, you got to make the shot, right? You can call timeout, you can do different things, but Mullen's last second shot from Steph Curry's range was one of the things that we're going to remember for years. This doesn't happen unless there's a great defensive play. You know, and I'm, again, looking at it again. They popped his 3 with 0.3 of a second left on the clock. To me, this situation should not have came around. Now, with Mullins about to take this shot, I'm probably playing tighter defense than what was played on him.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing, right? You gave him entirely too much room to take that shot. Again, with these basketball players that damn near could shoot from half court, you know, this centers nowadays that are popping threes. So the range for these players are basically out of this gym, right? Now, granted, Mullins was 0 for 5 heading to this last shot at 3-point land, but at this point, guarding a 3-point shot was probably the best thing to do. That was entirely too much room for Mullins. because I'm not letting him take that shot, in my opinion. So, but all in all, hell of a game by both teams. Tars Reed, he stepped up big time. 10 for 16, field goal range, 26 points. He played good. Cam Boozer had his normal game. I just think with teams with so much talent, one mistake can cost you the game, or coaching decision can cost you the game. And this is what happened. I mean, I think, this is something that these teams have been practicing since day one. The trap, how to get out of that. What do you do? This is not something that is a surprise to neither one of these teams. And it was a panic. And this is what happens. But along with that, the shot still had to go down. Either way. So to me, big kudos to UConn. Terrible loss for Duke. Obviously, we probably know what Cam Boozer is going to do regarding his decision whether to come back or leave. But these are two teams that, we see can possibly be a national champ. Obviously, Duke with having that expectation and being number one. I'm pretty sure a lot of people brackets are kind of screwed up now. Yes. So big congrats to UConn. This game is probably going to give UConn a lot of confidence. They stuck toe-to-toe with the number one team in the country. That made it look very smooth. It probably was known to be national champ favorites throughout the whole season. They found a way to get it done. So at this point, we got some good Final Four matchups. We'll touch on that, but UConn did a hell of a job by finding a way.
Watching this game, you saw the momentum that Boozer, the taller Boozer, was getting what he wanted. Even the shorter one was getting what he wanted as well in this matchup. You feed off your best players, and that's what Duke has done all year. Boozer had Cameron. Boozer had 27, 8 rebounds, 4 assists in the matchup, 2 blocks. His brother, 15 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals. And you can't ask any more than that than should. I mean, your two best players. But what we discussed before the show, before we go on the air, Dan Hurley's one of those emotional coaches.
Mm-hmm.
He rides the wave. And that second half, if you John Sire, you got to take timeouts. You're up double digits multiple times in the second half. You got to take timeout to kind of get things figured out with your team. Don't let UConn get, big play after big defensive play to will itself back into the game.
Right.
Get momentum. You can't do that. You got to cut that off. Because Dan Hurley's going to use that as hey, we got. All the Dan Hurley tropes. You need to be hulking up on the sideline while you over there and just kind of look like a deer in the headlights. And that's what it seemed like it kind of happened. John Sire had it like the deer in the headlights look at certain points in that second half. But I get you gotta give credit to UConn because they didn't let up at all. At one point, you think Duke's gonna pull away and stuff like that. We saw Michigan just beat down Tennessee.
Yes.
You can't depend on those fuckers for nothing. But anyways, it's still no Final Four appearance for the men's. I have to throw it out there. But anyways, you can't let a team like that and how they play come back on you like that. You can't. And they did it. I give credit all the work to UConn. They did not let up at all. They didn't man down. Despite the strong player Boozer, the Boozers, you know, they won the game. You know, Tars Reed had another strong game, 26 points for him, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 blocks. You know, if he's not getting NBA first round consideration, I mean, I'm pretty sure he is, but I don't know what to tell you. A big man knows his role. You know, we talk about the NBA all the time. They always need bigs and stuff like that in the NBA. Well, that's a kid right here that I don't think he's gonna be a star, but a good role player for you for years to come. So credit to UConn, credit to Dan Hurley to keep his team in the fight and all that. And going back to that last second shot by Brian Mullins. When the younger, shorter Boozer got the ball, 2 things he should have did. You were under 10 seconds in the backcourt. Either hang on to the ball, go to the free throw line.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you probably leave 3 seconds or so left in the clock. You know, after the free throws if you make them. And then, you know, you can't go full court for the shot. Or if y'all look at that play, yeah, he had the big man open on the other side of the court, but he's trying to throw it over two 6'8" plus UConn players. And like I said, he's a shorter Boozer.
Right.
Were you like 6'5"? I believe. Either if you throw it high or if you bounce past it, which a lot of these young kids don't do a lot of times. You got the double team. You got 2 guys coming up. You pump fake and bounce pass, and you get the pass off to the big man. I forgot who was down there. I think it wasn't Malik Brown, was the other dude. Kamina.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Bounce past the ball will bounce to him, time will tick off, and you win the game. Or like you mentioned, Shire should have took time out.
Yeah.
Take a time out, get your bearings together, get something figured out. Maybe get another free throw guy in there. And you kind of put yourself in a better position. And I know at this point in the year with your squad, you figure you know what we could do. But sometimes, you know, you gotta save your team at certain points. And I think John Shire should have did that.
Yeah. Agree. I think I'm just still looking at the video. And I mean, for one, it took some time to inbound the ball anyway. So with that being said, we always see a lot of times if it takes a little bit longer than usual, they call a timeout and you know, redraw up this play. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of people said watching sports, you don't leave a game with any timeouts. You use them more than likely. Now, maybe they're thinking, okay, this could be a possible overtime kind of game, whatever. But I'm in my mind, I'm thinking that, you know, and they're in the bonus too. So to me, you know, that could have been, well, they could have called a timeout. I think that was that. But I am going to give credit to UConn. That's great defense. This is something that you're not going to see. This is like best case scenario. You see what I'm saying? This is literally best case scenario. So in my opinion, this is just one of those moments. Now, it could have changed, like you said, calling the timeout that could have literally called everything. But looking at this defense and how they had it set up, I mean, they transitioned and moved very well with that. He had his people down at the bottom of the court open. It's just, I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of the athlete. What was he thinking? And also thinking, okay, as a coach, why not just call that timeout? You see the trap. You see it's about to happen. Now, like you said, they've done this multiple times or practiced it multiple times. Did he do what they do in practice? Or does he do something else? And sometimes that's just why they play the game.
Yeah.
You do something multiple times and it seems so simple at practice. It's beaten to your head. This is what you do. This is what you do. This is what you do. But now, this is not at practice where the clock is just going down and somebody's going to blow the whistle and tell you this. No, there's literally 10 seconds left. This is the Elite 8 game. You have to make the right decision. So now you're in panic mode, and some people do that. They get in panic mode and they make a hesitated decision quickly. So it's kind of similar to Seahawks and Patriots, right? That Super Bowl. That seemed like the easiest decision that could have been made. Get the ball to Marshawn Lynch and let's get going. But to outthink the opposing team, it costs you. So maybe in this scenario, it's very similar. Maybe it's trying to outthink. But at this point, this is what we know about very good players in a lot of sports is they do the normal on the biggest stage. So what they do on a regular game, they do on the biggest stage. Nothing changes. That's what makes them very good and consistent. Here, it just was a mistake or a decision that was made. And it could have been on the coach and the athlete, either or. But in this moment, does he usually call a timeout? Or does he let this play out? Or is he waiting for a foul? There's so many different ways that it could have went. And a lot of times we hear, oh, just let them play it out. You know what I mean? Let the athletes make the decision. But as you said, sometimes you have to take that power out of the athlete and kind of redraw. Because clearly, like I said, it took them time to inbound the ball. Once you see that trap coming, you can trust. But now that's probably what the coach could have said, hey, let me call this timeout real quick and redraw this scenario. And also on top of that, once you inbound the ball, now more time is going off the clock. So many different scenarios. But again, I don't want to discredit UConn because UConn did like I said, that was the draw up of the play, is to get the ball back. The draw was to get the ball back. Now, they could have called a timeout too. They could have been like, well, damn, okay, we got the ball, timeout, let's draw something up. No, they went off a whim. Now, the thing about that is you got Duke in panic mode. They're not expecting this turnover. So now when it comes to making a defensive play, when it's calling defense or setting up or being in the right position, they're trying to think about what to do. Therefore, now you give them that space, Jackson 3, you're thinking, okay, well, damn, he hasn't made a 3-all game. There's no way this is going in. Game. Yep. So now looking at it, like I said, you're up by 2. I'm probably hands-on Mullins. There's no way I'm giving him any kind of space at the 3-point line. There's just no way. But in the heat of the moment, you got half of 10 seconds left. You're trying to make a decision now. But again, this is going to be remembered forever. But it's even going to be remembered even more importantly if UConn wins a championship. Because that is, I know what is this, March 29th. That play alone, I believe, is going to go down as a top 10 play of the year. Now, I know we got a lot of different games and different sports, to judge by this, but this alone, that's back to back, hell of a 2 great moments back to back with that. Get a hell of a steal, about 2 or 3 seconds left. Now you're back damn near by half court. You jack up a 3, and it eliminates the #1 team in the nation. I mean, what other story would you like it to end with? Now, go finish it off with a victory in the national championship game.
One more thing.
This is going to be hard.
Oh, yeah. One more thing before we move on from this game and talk about the others. Just look at this last inbound play. Okay, you get the ball to Boozer. Okay. Like you said, had a little trouble. So you watching the video now, about 1 second in, the ball's in the Boozer.
Mm-hmm.
Big Boozer. Okay. Boom, got the trap. Okay. Successful trap, but you got to pass off if you're Boozer. So bam, you pass it off to the inbounder. Cool. Now, at this point, you're at 8.9 seconds. This is Evans having the ball. So, guy you probably prefer, you want to shoot your free throws. And then, he got it. So, you have 3 defenders down there below the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
You got to pass off the Boozer at the 3-point line. Okay, not bad pass. Okay, at this point, you're at 7.9 seconds. Now, 7.1. This is where the double team came for UConn. And why I still trying to wonder, why try to throw over 2 guys like that? Because when you look up, let's see. Because Braylon Mullins is 6'5". 6'5", 6'6", same height as Boozer. I can't tell by the video with who the other player was. But then UConn gets the ball back at 4.9. Mullins passed the Caravan. Then, when, like you said, Duke was in disarray.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't know what to do going on, who to guard. They're just disarray. And then you had to know at that point, they got to get a shot off.
Yes.
So you got to be ready, have defensive position ready, have your hands up ready to defend the shot.
Mm-hmm.
At all times at this point. And Isaiah Evans, I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know. He thought Mullins was not going to make the shot. But he didn't put no hand. He just looked at him.
Yeah.
And then, boom, the shot goes in.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now too. I'm trying to. Oof.
And one thing I think could have maybe should have happened when Boozer passed it off, Isaiah Evans probably should have maybe dribbled it out a little bit. And I know in basketball, as coaches, we teach guys, impress. You don't want to dribble yourself in bad situations and impress, and especially in late game situations. You're trying to limit the dribbling and all that stuff to break the press. But I think sometimes you get the clock running, get the ante is going with the other team and see what happens. And I think you already sucked down 3 guys below the 3-throw line, drove the ball out, or when shorter Boozer should have got it, maybe he should have dribbled a little bit, trying to draw a foul or something. So it's just like a lot of things that should have did. I think the main thing they should have did, maybe call a timeout.
That's what I'm thinking.
Call another timeout, trying to save yourself, because they have momentum. And that's the thing about UConn. They have momentum against you. Take time out. Figure something out. Get their free throw shooter out there. Set screen, get somebody open, throw something deep, and see what happens. But if you're John Shire, you tell your guys, if they can create the turnover, you can still defend the shot.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm looking at Braden Mutz. He was 33% from 3-point land all year. So nothing too impressive, but again, I think some of that stuff that we've seen in that video is practice day one. And obviously he passed to Braden Mullen, said his first thought process as soon as he get the ball to jack the ball up. I mean, he already know time is running out, so he's throwing it up from wherever it is. So maybe it was a little bit of, like I said, he got opportunity, he made it, but again, I think it goes both ways. I can credit UConn, but also I can look at Duke making a mistake that cost him.
And then go into the chat real quick before we talk about the other games. Real quick. I'm sick of my Duke's loss. Yeah, it's a bad loss. I had Duke win all the way in. I mentioned the past couple of weeks, Locke. I kind of just felt in my soul that they're going to position, I won't say position, but getting Duke to the title game and maybe coordinate John Shire as that, next big name college basketball coach for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
Like a name we're going to be hearing the next 20 years as one of those great coaches in college basketball in this new era. Because look at we're in the college basketball landscape now. Doug McDermott retired from Creighton. Bill Self, on the fence. Tom Izzo, he says he's not retiring, but that door is knocking pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of who's another old head that's out there. Most of everybody else out the game. Bruce Powell out the game. Jay Rice out the game. Well, maybe. But Billy Dolphin may be coming back, but we'll see about that. We'll talk about UNC here in a little bit. But I thought this being the year. Boozer, a legacy name. I thought they'd maybe get to the championship and win it. But once again, it did not happen.
Yeah. And that's the good and bad with the beauty of March Madness. I mean, a lot of people fill out brackets. We have these expectations. But this is what gets fans glued in and add even more fans is, you're going to see some upsets. Obviously them losing to Houston last year was a big shocker. So now you got another team with a loaded talented team. And you take another L. So we know what Duke is going to be. We know they're going to continue being good, but you're going to have a lot of people coming back still betting and still saying that Duke will win a championship. But now, how does this roster look next year? What happens? They're going to, like I said, they're going to re-up. They continue to. But it's just, like you said, another loss. Another way not to get there. So it's a tough loss. But again, congrats to UConn because, they stuck it out. Obviously being down by double digits, still fought their way through. Their confidence should be super high.
So, yeah, congrats to UConn. Great win by Dan Hurley and them, and never quit. You coach at the final buzzer, and this is the results you get. other chats in this that Terry Rodriguez saying, "Down goes Duke. I knew I couldn't trust them to win at all." So that's one opinion out there. They also say I have Michigan win it all, but UConn's a threat to win it all. Give me those two in the national championship. Could happen. Marcus Los Gray, a Duke supporter, a super fan, you might say. Duke gave that game away. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And he said, too many mistakes by Duke. Yeah. I mean, this I don't know that second half. That hopefully John Shire used that second half as a learning curve to kind of grow as a coach. And then BMA Dog saying, what a win for UConn and the Celtics playoffs up. Yeah. Shout out to the Celtics. Jason Tatum back in the fold.
Oh, yeah.
And things are rolling for the Celtics right now. And positive momentum for them. Despite losing Drew Holiday, Porzingis, and Horford. The train's still moving along. And now getting Tatum back in the fold, things are looking up and up for Boston. And I think another thing for Boston, real quick, Brad Stevens already turned down the UNC job. So if he didn't take the Indiana job back in the day, if he passed on this, I don't think he's coming back to college.
Nah. In the sweet spot right now.
I mean, he's in a nice spot with the Celtics, what he does. But I think if any job was going to pull him out back to coaching, I thought it would be this one. And I think he'd been a perfect fit for Carolina. Yeah, I don't blame him for going at him at first. I say, dog, come to UNC. We'd love to have you. How you feel about coaching? We'll give you all the resources you want, support, yada, yada, yada. He turned him down, which, damn. I thought that at least that one job. But shout out to the Celtics. They clinched the playoff spot there. Woo! So, D-Lock, stay in the East region. Go back a day or so back. Duke beat St. John's 80-75 in a very tough matchup there. And the UConn beat Michigan State 67-63, in which UConn was up double digits, but they let Michigan State back into the game. Your quick thoughts on the Sweet 16 matchups in the East region?
Wasn't bad. I mean, I think Michigan State played well, but another matchup with two historically good college basketball teams and coaches. You knew this was going to be a battle. I think the biggest shocker for me was, St. John's hanging around Duke for so long. I thought that would have been more of a blowout in that game. But St. John's played extremely well and had it close to the end. I think, Boozer played pretty good. Isaiah Evans had a hell of a game that game as well. So he got going. I mean, he had the game that he needed. So to me, it set up the matchup that we seen today. And I think it was the right matchup in my opinion. I talked about UConn this whole last time we talked that I had UConn getting past Duke. I thought that they were going to be tough because of coaching and because of just believe it. Go back and look at it. It said it was going to come down to one possession. So I think St. John's played extremely well. Michigan State, like you said, they hung around, but UConn figured it out. I think 1 and 2 did deserve to be in the Elite Eight, and we got a hell of a game that was played today.
Going to that St. John's and Duke matchup, I didn't understand why Sellers took that shot trying to tie the game. Like, if you, if you Rick Pitino, you can't let the guard that don't. I mean, I'm not. He averaged like 10 points a game this year, but like he got the game winner against Kansas, but that was his first 2 points of the game. But I think in a situation like this, when he's 2 for 9 from the field, 1 for 4 3-point land, no assists, all that stuff, you gotta have him pass off the ball to Zuby Ejiofor or something like that, and let him take the shot. Something.
Yeah.
Him coming in, why he? I seen him watching it. Like, why he's taking that shot? I went to watch the Alabama game with my dad. We're kind of going back and forth. I was like, why's this fucker taking a shot? With Ejiofor sitting there playing pretty damn well. Like, what are we doing here? So I didn't like that shot. And then they pull out the win. Like I said, Isaiah Evans, 4 for 8 for the 3-point land. Hit some very key shots, stuff like that. And shots when you shoot, you don't look like he's gonna go in, but it went in nice and wet. Well, pause. But went in and all that stuff. So, and strong game for Boozer, 22-10 for him in that matchup. And then UConn, Michigan State. For me, UConn, I thought UConn was gonna blow the doors off Michigan State. I said, damn, they're gonna beat the shit out.
Yeah.
And then kind of like the game we just talked about in length.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan State came back, grinding out, tough it out. And, they almost came back on UConn, but Reed, another strong game for him, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks. Caravan, 17 points for him. So you kind of stayed well enough in UConn, 10 for 16 for a free throw line. Could be a little bit better. You did get out rebounded by Michigan State by almost about 10 points. But, you controlled the ball, kept things under composure, and you played very well to hold off Michigan State to win the game. Let's head to the Midwest real quick, D-Locke. Michigan defeated Alabama 90-77. Then Tennessee defeated Iowa State 76-62. Your thoughts on these two games here?
I was shocked a little bit about Iowa State. I'm big on SEC teams, but I think I was expecting Iowa State to win this game, in my opinion. I just thought that they had the experience, they were ready, had a hell of a season, but Tennessee fought through, right? And we've seen a few upsets throughout this tournament already. So I like, damn, to me, I'm like, oh, that's good. We got an SEC team in there. But also with that being said, now Alabama and Michigan, I think Michigan is just on fire right now. I think that Bama matched up pretty well. Pretty sure you've seen the game, but Fallon had a hell of a game. He played pretty decent, but it's just, right now, looking at the percentages, Michigan couldn't miss. I'm looking at this 3-point. They're 48% 3-point land. They had a hell of a game. So, to me, I think we had Michigan as being one of the top teams in the country, and it just is one of those matchups where they're peaking. They came with it. So now, this next matchup that they have is going to tell it all. So to me, then obviously Michigan will play Tennessee and the results of that. So, but I think the Midwest region, like I said, I had a few shockers, but the biggest one to me was, Tennessee dropping off Iowa State. Like they were supposed to be the number 2 team, and Iowa State was supposed to be the number 6 team. So, hell of a victory. But I think Michigan is a team to watch out for. And they've proved that, recently.
Real quick for me, I go to Tennessee and Iowa State real quick. free throws, free throws, free throws.
Mm-hmm.
I would say shot 15-25 from the line. That is 60%. Now, granted, Tennessee saw 60% as well, but they felt like they were in control, especially in the second half, they pulled away. But at certain points, when I would say trying to get back in the game, they sit missing free throws and stuff like that. It's like, damn, make y'all damn free throws. All that stuff. It's like, make free throws. But Tennessee, they dominated the boards, 42-18 on the boards. You know, Iowa just stayed, excuse me. You know, just kind of just getting out hustled, getting out worked, you know, and they just couldn't make a comeback on Tennessee as hard as they tried. And, you know, Tennessee just dominated down low, took advantage of their size, and they pulled it out and won the game. So I was like, you gotta make free throws. You gotta shoot the ball well in these situations. And you know, they shot 5 for 23 for 3-point land. Also in this matchup, 21% from the 3-point line. That's not going to cut it. So credit to Tennessee playing strong in that game. You know, now do we play the waiting game? You know, of what's his name? TJ Altenberger, possibly in the mix of the North Carolina job.
Mm-hmm.
His name has popped up. We'll see here about the next coming days and whatnot and happen there. But that's just a bad loss by, I would say, this bad basketball and letting Tennessee out-muscle them. And if Altenberger does stay at Iowa State, you got to recruit some size. Got a little size down there.
Yep.
And to Alabama and Michigan. I'm gonna say this, D-Locke. Me and my dad watched the game. We were pretty confident going to the second half. They're up by 2, playing well, getting up and down the court. And then I don't know what the fuck happened, man. Just like got folded. I don't know what's up, man. Like, I don't know if Zuckerberg's wife threw him a nice bag at them at halftime and said, hey, man, I want to see Michigan make the Final Four. Fold this game. They fuck it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, damn. They had Michigan in their game. But then in the second half, they turned around Michigan. They got them to play their game. They're trapping foul line. He couldn't get shots like he would. In the end, the other fuckers, they won't shoot him with the shit. I hate to call them fuckers like that, but you know, get mad thinking about it again. And it's like, damn, what am I doing here? And then don't get in this camera and look in this camera right here. Pat Adams. If y'all don't know who Pat Adams is, he's a ref mostly around the SEC. He's probably one of the worst refs ever. Just blatant calls. Pat Adams is one of the worst refs out in the world of college basketball. Pat Adams.
Yeah.
This dude missed so many calls. There's one outbound play. Michigan player threw it in, hit that outbound line. He's on the sideline looking. Said, dog, you right there. And then the ball, like Houston Mallet got the save, but the call down Houston. But Houston already Malley already threw the ball, and he already fall back in the fall line and called out on Houston. Who are you looking at, dog?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like damn. And I know they lost by what? By 13. Now, could Aiden Holloway made a difference? He averaged 60 points in the year. Could that made a difference? I don't know. Bylon scored 35 points. That's kind of like average. That's kind of like both of them right there. But I knew Michigan would win this game because the size will make a difference. But damn, man, it's just like it just sucks that they went out like this, and it kind of sucks also. Like it's kind of like a what if.
Yeah.
Like, what if Tuscaloosa PD didn't bust down Aiden Holloway's door a week ago or 2 weeks ago, just about for some damn weed? And some of y'all don't know, I live in the state of Alabama, and yeah, we're still behind the times, and they like locking folks up for weed and keep the prisons and nice and tight.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all see the Netflix documentary about the Alabama prisons, please check it out because it's real janky. They keep them overcrowded and all that stuff. Just check it out when you get some free time. But anyways, now he's out of the equation, and you lose your top scorer.
Yeah, major blow.
And I think the only good positive thing after this loss, D-Locke, is like the athletic director, Greg Byrne, he had to show the picture of Nate Oates, say he's not going anywhere. So he's out of considered North Carolina job as well. So if any positive, if you're a Bama fan, Nate Oates ain't going to North Carolina, which I was kind of nervous about, until that picture came about.
That's gonna be a hot job.
I was. Let's be real. Kentucky was after him hard a couple years ago. We talked about it on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know what happened there, but I think the buy was too high, and they sell for Pope. But Kentucky was hot on him. And I'm pretty sure he had to be up high on North Carolina's list. But I ramble enough. We'll talk about Alabama down the line and stuff. So just head to the South real quick. South Regional, Illinois defeat Houston 65-55. Mm-hmm. Illinois, I can't give the Brad Underwood and company a 17-0 run in the second half to pull away from Houston.
Oof.
I mean, that I was watching that. I was like, damn, Houston's not going to come out of this hole. They were not. Their offense not built to it. They don't got the guys for it. Y'all can we can say a lot about what's that kid's name? What's that kid's name for Houston? Flemings.
Yeah,
we can say a lot about him, but I don't think he's that type of scorer to get your team back in a way like that.
No,
especially a well-coached and veteran team like this. It wasn't going to happen. And it did in Houston, too. That's another thing. Houston had basically home court advantage for the Sweet 16 and Elite 8, and they dominated asses in the second half.
Yeah.
And then Iowa, Nebraska, the arch rivals right at the border. Shout out to Iowa making the Elite 8, 77-71. Great game by them. And Nebraska did a great job getting to the tournament, winning a couple games. And I said last week, D-Locke, like, Nebraska could have maybe achieved this a long time ago, but better late than never. because I said my piece last week because about how they handle in-state players. Dana Altman at the time when I was out there was the coach of Creighton, and two guys I went to school with. He recruited those guys like in seventh, 8th grade, gave them scholarships offers at 7th, 8th grade, and you build that relationship with a lot of young kids around there. Grassroots.
Yeah.
And then comes junior, senior year, you already built that relationship with them, and they go to your school building that up, while the big university, in the Big 12 at the time, this kind of mid. And while Creighton's going to tournaments and stuff like that, and all that stuff, and getting his revenue and all that stuff, and building a good, strong base in Omaha, while you over there, the football program, it is what it is. But you could have done the same thing with basketball, a lot of in-state talent around that time. There's a lot of things like Nebraska basketball could have did to not get here in the year 2026 celebrating 2 NCAA tournament wins. I'm not saying you're, I'm trying to find the right word. You're not guaranteed to get wins in this or that tournament. You know this, like Florida. Y'all won the championship last year.
Yep.
And then you come back around, you get bounced in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
My team, Alabama, multiple years going to the Sweet 16s. I can't take this for granted. You know what I'm saying? Other schools, you can't take, your success for granted.
Nope.
But I feel like sometimes these schools, who they hire and whatnot, and what they do, these programs, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot to get to certain points.
Yeah, I think they do make those decisions, and that's why, again, we love the tournament, because you gotta come with it that game.
Mm-hmm.
And now we, the deeper we get into this tournament, every possession counts from tip off.
Yep.
Right? So those, small decisions, or some of these missed you talked about earlier about free throws, some of these points that can be left on the board can change a lot. Right? We talk about UConn and Duke, like we talked about. Well, let's look at how many free throws made. You see what I'm saying? What possession kind of could have changed outside of just that one possession. That's why we hear at the end of the games all the time. They say, oh, well, it wasn't just this one possession. It was this, that, and the third that led on to this situation, right? Going back to, Florida losing to Iowa. Well, hell, Iowa took that like, okay, well, hell, we beat Florida. Shit, who else we can take down?
Yep.
So you get that momentum, and now you're going to Nebraska, like you said, and that momentum is up there. And Iowa took that. Now, them being as talented as they are, they go against Illinois, fight, pretty strong, but Illinois showed that they're a better team at the end. So, to me, this is why we love this tournament. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have done their bracket. They're like, oh, there's no way that. Now, I thought, hell, there's no way that Iowa beats Florida. We're not thinking that they're going to get this far, this, that, and the third. So people have their different brackets and have these different expectations. But all it takes is for a team to grab 1 or 2 wins that wasn't expected. And once they do that, now they're deep into this tournament and they're starting to believe. Now they're starting to get another chance and opportunity. Now each possession even means more. So those little things make a difference. And now we start to see that draft board change. Because now some players that we may not have thought about or talked about, their stock rises.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big thing that I love about the tournament is you start to see other players come around and say, well, hell, I can change the NBA team too if you give me a chance. So I think this tournament is showing us, like, just looking at it, number 3 beats number 2 by 10. Number 9 beats number 4. Those are 2 upsets right there. So you get that momentum going, it changes a lot. Hell, we all sometimes think that it'll be number one versus number one versus number one versus number one in the Final Four, but that is something that doesn't happen often. Number one loses to somebody at some point, or number two loses, or then sometimes hell, number 9 makes it, or number 3 makes it. So in this tournament, like you said, you talked about momentum in Duke and UConn. Hell, that even goes with this tournament. A team starts to get some wins and starts to get to rolling. You catch them on a good day, now they're starting to pack up more wins, or those possessions start to line up. And I think even like I speaking on the Iowa thing is, that came down to one possession against Florida, and they got it done. Well, damn, we just took down the number 1 team in our bracket. Who's next?
Yeah.
So now you go to Nebraska, and it's like, okay, cool. So to me, hell, I think I had Houston beating Illinois, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah.
it's something that has changed a lot.
Yeah, that South region, like once you got down to like if you do your bracket, you got down to it, like 3 teams always kind of, for me, kind of came about Illinois, Houston, Florida to make it to the Final Four.
Look at it now. Yeah.
It's like, okay, Houston, Illinois, you get that matchup, you got them in Houston. So that's advantage there. And then can your defense kind of play well enough against this group? Because you got like Keaton Wagler, love the kid, lottery pick. Can you slow him down and not get 20 plus on you?
Yeah.
If you slow down the big man in the front court for Illinois, if you Houston, not them get buckets on you that kind of turn the shift for their team. And then Florida, defending champs, kind of retooled very well last year. If you get matched up with either one of the squads, can you use that experience to get ahead of them? Can you stifle Wagler or Fleming just well enough to get your team ahead and win by double digits? And that didn't really happen. Florida got bounced by Iowa, and then you kind of look, what happened in Illinois and Houston. Great job by Illinois in the second half. And then Illinois, and I want to shout out Ben McCollum, that coach for Iowa, first year in and take his team to the Elite Eight. Brought a lot of guys from Drake to Iowa, and you made your first year in the Elite Eight. If y'all don't know, Ben McCollum had a very, very successful coaching career in Division II at Northwest Missouri State. Multiple time champion. The COVID year probably would have won another championship if the COVID year didn't happen. So very successful in the Division II level. So
Yeah.
Knew the area, got the job at Drake, did well there, beat Missouri that first round last year. And then now he's turned, that to the Iowa job. And now you're speaking Elite Eight, almost to the Final Four.
Yeah.
In your first year at Iowa. So I do want to shout him out. You're an Iowa fan. Now you're looking forward to that. Now, the only thing that kind of sucks, you playing the Big Ten, your arch rival Nebraska kind of there with you. So, you can't, like I said, you can't take this for granted and guarantee you're going to get back here next year because you never know.
Now you take, if you're Iowa, Ben McCullum is probably going in that AD office or sports admin office and is talking about how they can use this as a recruiting tool. Now you're talking about NIL stuff and all this. Listen, we just got damn near to the Final Four. We have a chance to do that. I think we need to invest a little bit, and I don't know how. This is just my opinion. He says, I think we need to invest a little bit more money into this program. Now, do they do it? Who knows? But that's his argument now. is, hell, I did this in a year. Give me some more money, or let's do this. Let's stay heavy on some type of recruiting, transfer portal, high school, whatever it is, better facilities, something. Because all it takes, again, we talk about it, all it takes is another possession, another opportunity. Now, this may be early, but he just got there. What if in 2 or 3 years they drop down? Does he stay? Does he leave?
I think he seems like a Midwest dude.
Yeah, I think so. But eventually, if the success continues, like you said, the momentum of success continues to rise, teams call. So, and that's why, I know he's probably not going to leave now, obviously, he just got there. But again, the end of the year appraisals or conversations you're having with your bosses, we had a hell of a season. But there's more that we can do. Now, how do we do that? This is my plan. This is what I think. This is my suggestion. What do you think? And they're going to listen to him because of, like you said, the success he's already had in a year. You know, you're taking down, you just took down the reigning national champs. That alone says a lot.
Yeah.
So it's good for him. I think, like I said, moving forward, they're probably going to be we don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be very aggressive recruiting wise. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing them pull some big time stars in there, especially from what we just seen.
Let me ask you this before we take a break real quick. Iowa football has, let's be real, it's kind of been there.
Yeah.
I don't have the record in front of me, but I just know I forgot what they were last year. But they just kind of been this there.
Yeah.
And I know the football program feeds a lot to that state. And also wrestling as well. But some of y'all don't know that they have a very, very, very well-oiled machine in the wrestling program in Iowa. One of the best in the country.
8-4. Well, 9-4. Yeah.
So Kirk France, he's just there.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like I said, money goes to the football program to try and make it better, but why so multiple resources in the France and company, which you're gonna get each year, and then in the occasional 11-win season, because they're good for that. Why not allocate some of those resources to your basketball program here?
So I'm looking at who this AD is. Beth Goetz. She got there 2024. So to me, she's recent. She's new. So she's new. That tells me exactly. So he's probably her guy. She hired him. You know what I'm saying? She came in. She's bringing in people that she trusts. Cool. That happens. So I wouldn't say that she knew that this was going to happen. They probably had a conversation. He interviewed, say, hey, this is what we want to do. I wouldn't be surprised if they did put more into the basketball program alone, just off of that. Strictly because she hired him with a plan.
Yeah.
So now that your plan is going in the right direction, hell, you're probably going to invest more, because this is a person that you hired. This is a person that you brought on and that you trust in a sense. So like you said, you bring somebody in, and I wouldn't say they knew for sure that he was going to have success so quickly, but that just raised, as you said, a bunch of eyebrows on Iowa. Huge. Dang, they just beat Florida, and they came back and beat Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a successful year for them. I mean, they didn't win that national championship. Okay, they're going to look at that and be like, well, damn, we didn't do that. But this was successful in a sense. So to me, I think that could be something that you could see happening is they do invest more into the basketball program. Now I know they got a nice track facility over there, indoor track facility too. They actually, it's crazy. Speaking of Iowa, they had 2 guys make the final in a couple sprints in nationals this past year too. So they got some talent. They have, some talent over there. But you beat one of your rival teams. You beat the national championship team. Now you're willing to put into this program over time. Now, how do you do that? How much? That's the question. But seeing that she literally got hired in 2024. She hired him last year. Oh yeah. This is a person that she bought in and that she trusts. So seeing that, we're probably going to see Iowa look like a different program moving forward. Now, you probably still put into football. Obviously, those are your 2 programs. But now, Oregon, USC, Indiana is national champ. They're going to be pretty solid. Iowa State, these are teams that they played in football this past year. I don't see this Iowa team being 10-2. You know what I mean? Or 11-1 or 12-0 just yet. But they're getting revenue for football regardless. That's just what that is. Same thing with basketball, but now you invest more. Right? Now you have a chance. She's probably looking at this, well, hell, we got a chance to go pretty far with the team that we had. Well, imagine if we do put more into this basketball program. We go and put a little bit more NILs and this, that, and the third into this program. Now you go get that 1 or 2 players, and now boom. Now Iowa's a team to talk about. So I can see it happening. Knowing where their revenue can come from, basketball and football are always gonna be for any team where they can get the most revenue because everybody's watching March Madness. There's a billion brackets that has been filled out. So, you got, let me say, in my opinion, I would say Super Bowl, NBA Finals, college football.
Yeah, college football. March Madness 4.
And then March Madness is 4. So you're getting views regardless. Now you get them deep in the playoffs. Now you got Iowa fans that probably ain't been watching college basketball in a while. They tuned in, buying jerseys. You see what I'm saying? They're buying different things. So I can definitely see them investing into the program more, especially seeing that. And again, not even touch too much on football, but you got the college football playoffs for football. You got enough teams that Iowa can go on the roll. And hell, now you find a way to have your football team in the college football playoffs. And then you got your basketball team deep in the March Madness. Oh, now you're really rolling a lot of dough then.
So let's pause here. On the other side of things, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk about the Final Four, preview the Final Four, give our championship thoughts there. Well, predictions here. We'll be back next Sunday, probably give championship thoughts, but we'll give our preview there. Then we talk about Hubert Davis and UNC and who the hell they go after. And then possibly we sneak in Will Wade as well.
Yeah.
But this is Fast Break here, live for iSports Radio, Utah Forward Sports. We'll catch you on the other side.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen, broadcast. Do follow IE Sports Radio on all your social media feeds. X, we'll be more heavy on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. The Road to Run K is full steam ahead. Wants to go live every Sunday. You get a notification, hit that bell, so you be alerted at all times. Not just our show, but other shows around the network. Our shin gas, the shin pad. Make sure I get that right. So right. Give me just a second. Let me pull that up. Make sure shin pads and shenanigans or for our own Jim B. World Cup is happening here in North America this year. Please give her a listen for all your football, if you're talking globally, and soccer for the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Check out her show. She'll be previewing the World Cup here pretty soon. We'll see how the World Cup goes here in North America because it's been kind of like a shit show here in the States. So we'll see how things shape up that way, how things going to go. So the summer's going to be hot. She's going to be hot, covering all your football/soccer action this summer. All right. We can talk about this real quick. Michigan beat the shit out of Tennessee, 95-62. I mean, any thoughts on that real quick?
No, I mean, I think Tennessee got pretty far, but like I said, I think Michigan is up top. They are looking really good. I think Lindenberg is showing how well he's playing right now. I think the better team won that one.
Can I say something about Lindenberg? This fool said after the Alabama game that Alabama didn't try to recruit him. Like he was hoping Alabama would come recruiting him and all that stuff. Dog. You were at UAB last year, man.
Mm.
You 40 minutes away from Tuscaloosa.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dog. 40 minutes west. Bam.
Yeah.
Like, you could have hit Nate yourself. Say, dog, hey man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come and talk to you, play for Alabama. What's up, man? I can come see you today. We can meet up at Dreamlands. You know, we can meet by the Whataburger by McFarland Boulevard or something. Or the Baumhauers. You know, go by the stadium, something. Can we do something, dog? Come on, man. This is sometimes you can't let other people do your business. Yeah, you gotta change and all that stuff. But sometimes if you want to do something, you gotta take action, you know.
Oh yeah. You gotta show your interest.
Like just take the drive, man. Take 40 minutes away from Tuscaloosa, man, and you couldn't drive down the way. You couldn't I-20 West for 40 minutes. Come on, man.
3 or 4 X's. Yeah.
The traffic won't be heavy. You know. Come on, man. Like, and you probably been down there to kick it a lot of times. You know the campus.
Oh yeah. Especially if you're that close. You've been around. You've definitely been a few places.
I mean, for some of y'all don't know, I'm not saying you could hang around at night in Birmingham, but you could get caught up by one of these, young dudes out here just kind of acting a fool. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it to you that way. Anyways, moving forward, I just had to get out of my system. But Final Four, D-Locke, UConn out of the East, Michigan out of the Midwest, Arizona, who has very strong performances in the Sweet 16 Elite Eight to get to this point, out of the West, and Illinois, where a lot of people may not have them going this far, out of the South. Early on to Saturday's matchups, D-Locke, as we look forward, it's kind of going ahead a little bit to Saturday here. Illinois versus Connecticut, Michigan versus Arizona. Illinois and Connecticut, who do you have in that matchup?
I'm going to UConn. I think I had already had them going to I had them beating Duke. I think beating Duke is a big win, especially being down by double digits. Illinois is going to be tough, but I think UConn is their confidence is going to be through the roof. They just have to, play smart ball. They clearly showed us that playing against Duke, so I don't think they do anything different against Illinois, in my opinion. So I think UConn takes that one and earn themselves way to the national championship game.
For me, it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. I think one way Illinois will win this game if Stojakovic plays well. I think Wagner will show up, but I think UConn might try to, keep him grounded. But I think Stojakovic, he got to at least score 20 points in that matchup against UConn to kind of put them ahead. I think the big men for Illinois, the older guys, I think they'll come through and play strong.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they'll help maybe neutralize Reed down low. But I think Stojakovic is key. He's got to shoot the ball well and make his free throws. I think he's kind of key if Illinois is going to make an upset against UConn. I don't say upset, but win against UConn. But, for UConn, I think Reed's got to have a strong game, get those big men for Illinois in foul trouble. I think he can do that. Guys like Caravan, Mullins, they score the ball very well. I think, UConn will win. And I think UConn, you don't put yourself in a hole like you did against Duke.
Yeah.
I think with Duke, you took advantage of the moment, but you kind of took advantage of the experience on the court per se, and worked to your advantage, like on the sideline and on the court. So I got UConn winning against Illinois. And then D-Locke on the other side of things, kind of like a tough one to pick here because both teams played very similar. Mm-hmm. Arizona versus Michigan. Who do you have in that matchup come Saturday?
Speaking of Lindenberg, I think he needs to have another game like that for him to beat Arizona. I'm always going with the team that has the history. So Michigan is a team I'm definitely leaning towards. But can the bigs for Arizona eat? That's going to be the tell. I mean, Krebs with 12 rebounds. Can he do that again against Michigan? Can Ivan, I don't want to butcher his name, but Karchakov, can he have, a decent game? But both teams very similar. I just think that Michigan might be too much. Lindenberg, if he gets hot, that opens up everything for everybody else. So to me, it's hard to go. It's very hard when you have, number one teams, two number one teams, because clearly they're number one for a reason. Picking in different brackets, but I think, with Lindenberg playing how he's playing, if he can play well, and Perez can get right, I mean, I think Michigan is going to be a team to watch out for. Arizona is going to play, pretty well too. That win against Tennessee was very impressive to me. Yeah. Especially the way that they blew them out. So, Michigan, I'm gonna take Michigan in this one. Like I said, I think the guys that they got, I think you get three guys with 15 plus points from Michigan. They go face UConn.
For me, Cole Pete had a strong game against Purdue.
Yeah.
20 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. He's got matched that again against Michigan. And one thing that Alabama did with Michigan, they took some of the big men out the way. And talking about like Mara and those other guys, they took them out the way, out of sync for the most part in the first half. I think if you take those big men out the way if you're Arizona from Michigan, I think they can go a long way to win the game, because you got size to match up with Michigan. And with Michigan, if they're trying to play catch-up mode and whatnot, then they go a little bit small. So if they can do that and match energy and stuff like that, I think they will go a long way for Arizona to win that game. And if you're Michigan, Lindenberg got the hot hand right now. Ellie Cadeau, I think he's got to be, from the beginning, consistent all the way through. If I was him, don't overdo it. Don't try and be a smart ass like you did against Alabama. Just kind of be your guy.
Right.
Get in a rhythm early if you're Cadeau. All that. And I think the game will come to him. And then Mara, he's got to show up, be strong inside. He's got to be tough. Just kind of watching him in that Alabama game, he's like, sometimes he's like, he's just like just a tall man out there. No movement, no nothing. Just a tall man. So if Arizona can make him a tall man, I think they'll go a long way for him. Lindenberg is playing very well, but I think with Lindenberg, you got to get him in foul trouble. You only committed one foul against Tennessee, which was a blowout loss. And then you go match up against Alabama. I pulled up right now. 2 fouls there. So 3 fouls in 3 games. 2 games, 3 fouls in 2 games against 2 teams. You got to get him in foul trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And Arizona scoring like 100 plus points, and they're not shooting a lot of 3-pointers too. I don't know if you notice that, or a lot of folks notice that, but Arizona, in these games here, going back to Thursday against Arkansas, 109 points, not a lot of 3-pointers taken there. Saturday, granted, they scored 79, but they won by double digits, but not scoring by, shooting a lot of threes, only taking like 15 threes, getting to the free throw line, out rebounding, under 10 turnovers. So if Arizona could do that, control the tempo and stuff like that, control the turnovers, I got Arizona.
Ooh.
I know my bracket says different. I got Michigan to the championship game. But the way they kind of Arizona be manhandling, I got Arizona going to the championship game against UConn. And I'll give my wherever happens in Final Four, I get my championship thoughts next Sunday.
Next Sunday, yeah. After we see them games.
But D-Lock, we got to talk about this. We had to squeeze this in. Hubert Davis is officially fired as the UNC head coach. Now, a lot of people thought it was a mutual firing of all this stuff. And this was not a mutual. Well, UNC tried to make it mutual, but Hubert, he wanted to stay. And I don't blame him. He wanted to stay, wanted to coach, and and that's what happened. He got let go, so he thought he could turn things around. Got a nice recruiting class coming in. And we'll see what happens with that class. But D-Lock, let me ask you this, D-Lock. I don't think I had a chance to ask you. First initial reaction of him being let go as the UNC head coach.
Not really surprised. I think the expectation, they just didn't. UNC has very high expectations as a college basketball team. I mean, the football team hasn't been really, really good. They're spotty. Track team is pretty solid, I guess. Other sports, they're decent, but they're known for the basketball team and to have those high expectations. So, I mean, to me, I'm not really too surprised because they just haven't been doing well, in my opinion. And I'm just going through, a couple things for them. Okay, they got put out early this year. Last year, first four, they lost to San Diego State. Let's go to 2023. Okay, got a little further. They lost to Wagner. So to me, they lost to Alabama. So to me, they're not making it to the Final Four. They haven't. With the expectations that they have. Now, I've talked about it before. Nowadays, because of how the transfer portal is, they probably invested a shit ton of money into this program and this roster. The expectation is through the roof for UNC. So once they give you that roster, they give you the pieces, your job is to get it done. Now there's no reason. Now, obviously, ACC is a tough conference. Cool, I get it. But what made the ACC a tough conference is Duke and UNC. Those are the teams that we're looking at like, damn, this conference is tough because of these teams. So to not be making it this far, I mean, the expectation is already up there, especially for Hubert Davis, who knows North Carolina basketball. So not too shocked. I just think the biggest thing for me is who do they replace him with? That's going to be the biggest thing. Because your roster, I mean, it's UNC. UNC and Duke is damn near neck and neck with get the guy that they want. So you're going to have a hell of a roster. But at this point, you got to bring in the coach that's going to be able to coach these guys up. So not too surprised, but now it's going to be even more surprising who they hire.
I think Kenny Smith said this, of course, he's an alumni, Tar Heel legend, all that stuff. He said you got to find somebody that's going to be in the fold for the next few years, for life, which he's right. You kept it in the family, in a sense. After Brad Doherty and what happened there, you went and got Roy from Kansas. Ward came in, you started success there. He gave to his people, Hubert Davis. He sent Coach K out the door with a loss in the Final Four. People still talk about they're gonna love him forever for that, beating Coach K on his last game. And of course they lost the championship to Kansas. But like you mentioned, the past few years, expectations have been falling short. And this one right here, lose against VCU the way they did. They had a 19-point lead in double digits. In the second half, double-digit lead in the second half. To lose the overtime like that. And yes, I know they didn't have Caleb Wilson. That don't help things.
No, yeah, definitely not.
It sucked that he went out with the injury that he did. But I didn't have him going deep in the tournament. But I damn sure thought they're going to beat VCU. But something told me while I was watching VCU and Dayton in the A-10 championship, I was like, you know what? The way they playing kind of played back in my mind how they played there, and then playing against UNC. They look in the bracket and like, they might get UNC. And lo and behold, they did.
Mm-hmm.
And now, kind of going here, how the Hubert Davis firing unfolded. Davis was offered a chance to resign. He refused. UNC then terminated him outright, paying him the remaining buyout which was over $5 million. So I think he tried to show him grace because who he was and legend and stuff like that. But he wanted to stay. He thought, give me another year, see what I can do.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. And then players and staff were informed at 9 p.m. at Davis's house. Davis later posted, "Tonight I was let go. My desire was to continue to coach here."
That sounds like he's pissed at the decision. He's very pissed at it, and rightfully so. I just think at those type of programs, the expectation is extremely high. Your time you don't have as much time as you have at teams that don't have those type of expectations. You know this as an Alabama football fan. You only have so much time to get things in the right direction. So, now to be honest with you, it's very professional how he did it, to be honest, because seeing tonight I was let go, my desire was to continue to coach here. I'm pretty sure there's a hell of a lot more that he could have said and wanted to say, but he kept it very plain. But again, it's the expectation that they have there. And in different sports, universities have different expectations, high expectations. UNC basketball is expected to be in the Final Four every year. That's just what it is. Duke continues, as much as we say Duke, they lose in the Elite Eight or Final Four, they're there every year. So that's who UNC is recruiting against. We know North Carolina has a hell of a lot of good basketball teams there, known for basketball. Your rival is literally finding a way to the Elite Eight and Final Four every year, while you're getting put out first and second round. So it goes hand in hand in trying to figure that out. So that's a tough decision that had to be made. But again, with the high expectations, your tenure is not going to be as long as it would be at a team that doesn't have them high expectations of winning. And it also plays on who you recruit, right? Now, the guys that you put on your team, you got to know what it is that what is it that they want. And like you said, injuries do happen. But at a team like that, they got people on the bench that's supposed to be starting anywhere else. So when you lose somebody, your backups or your rotational guys should be able to easily step up. And that was expected. Didn't happen. So even though we may see the injury, like, damn, this is one of your leading scorers, front office or, everybody else on the team is not looking at it like that. Okay, cool. He's down. Somebody else, come on. Let's find a way to get this victory against VCU. It didn't happen. Now that conversation had to be had.
Let me try and make this real quick, but it's you got a lot of money soaked into the football program after you fired Mac Brown and you brought in Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
You soaked a lot of money to that, trying to make that work, and we saw how that went. And now you gave him so much money, how things went, him, the girlfriend, how that thing's shaking out, all that stuff. You got what's that fool's name working your front office, Lombardi there.
Oh yeah,
who's sitting there whistling Dixie in the dark. Don't know what the hell he's doing. So you soaked in a lot of money there, and you can't buy him out to kind of put back the money back where you really want to.
Mm-hmm.
And now, you fired him. We're seeing the coach for Vanderbilt, I forgot his name, he got a contract extension.
Mark,
Nate Oates, he took a picture of his athletic director, Greg Byrne. He's saying he ain't going nowhere, so that he's out. I feel like somebody else got like an extension somewhere and they're out of the race. But, there's Dusty May been brought up, the head coach of Michigan, Tommy Lloyd.
I seen that.
But I'm looking at those two guys like, you're at big time institutions. Tommy Lloyd was an assistant in Gonzaga for years, and now he's in a place in a great place that Lou Olson built, and Sean Miller, did pretty well until he screwed himself over. Now you're in a place in Arizona, like, okay, why should I leave? I got Caleb Hope coming in next year, one of the top players in the nation. Yeah, I know it's Carolina, but Arizona ain't no,
ain't no slouch. Yeah.
So why should I leave? If you're Dusty May, I got a good thing going in Michigan. A lot of money here. I just made the Final Four. Why should I leave?
Yeah.
Nate Oates. I got things rolling here in Alabama by hook and crook.
Yeah.
I got a new practice facility getting built for me. Among other things. Why should I leave? I got a nice recruiting class coming in.
Yeah. It's going to have to be the money UNC is going to have to come out a lot of money to get one of those guys that we're talking about, because they're in very prime situations. Like you said, Michigan is a team we know that historically is good in basketball. Bama is on the way there, and they're in a great conference. Arizona, like you said, the same thing. And obviously, I think the history of winning at UNC is probably something that can be thought about. But I mean, there is a difference, I'm sure, than walking into a kid's house and you're wearing Arizona basketball, and then you're wearing North Carolina basketball, jersey or gear. So that could play a part, but these coaches are in great spots. That's why I thought, that's why I said, do you think Billy Donovan comes back? Because what are the Bulls doing? I mean, Josh Giddey is solid, but I don't know what the hell they're doing in Chicago right now, to be honest with you. Watching them, I see what Josh Giddey's going to be. They don't, I guess you could say they rebuild it, but not really. So, and like you said, if he hasn't came back yet, I don't think he is. So they got to look at it, but it's North Carolina. So if they're going to hire a big name, in my opinion, it's going to be somebody. It'd be kind of shocking to me that they don't get somebody with a big name. Now, do one of these coaches kind of change their mind about staying where they are because his job is open? It could be considered. Also, Gold got an extension too.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, he got an extension, which I was happy about because I knew obviously that's you wouldn't see all these other jobs opening up. Hell, you might want to kind of watch out for that. But right now we look at the top 3 or 4 schools in college basketball. UNC is clearly in the top 2 or 3, without question. So, visiting that campus, getting introduced there, that is going to be a big thing that some of these coaches look at because it's UNC.
Yeah.
It's as we know, America's team. So I think the right person will go for it, but I think this search is going to be a while. I don't think this is a search that happens fairly quickly. You're going to have to probably identify who you want, and then you have to throw like a lot of money or something, So it's going to be interesting to see how this play out. So because that is UNC basketball.
Bill Darvin name's been popping up here a lot here lately.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why, like you mentioned, like Billy, you just kind of
what are you doing?
You collecting the check basically, and I don't blame him because the Ryan stores probably one of the worst owners in pro sports. To be real, despite their success.
Yeah.
The 90s Bulls, like the Bulls, the Jordan Run Bulls, Derrick Rose Bulls, and then I think they own the White Sox, and they won the World Series in 2005, I believe.
Yeah, around there. And for those that have not watched, Michael Jordan's documentary, please watch it because that's going to explain what we're talking about as far as him being an owner, because he explains how you had, and I know this is a sidetrack, but you had 3 championships and you're letting this team go and Phil Jackson's not coming back. That doesn't make any sense to me. So, yeah. So, like you said, go ahead. But I just want to throw that out there as far as him being an owner.
And then the White Sox probably want to work. Well, it's probably saying a lot about baseball, but one of the worst run baseball organizations out there. And I think last year they had like one of the worst records ever in MLB.
Mm-hmm.
They sucked ass. So that's where we have the Ryan stores. And like you mentioned, the Bulls is like, they I don't know where we're going. Like I'm looking at the standings right now for the Bulls. They're 29-45 out of playoff contention.
Mm-hmm.
You won too many games early in the year to kind of be in the tanking part because you got Brooklyn, Washington, Indiana ahead of you in the East. And then you look out West, Utah, Sacramento, and Dallas, and the Pelicans and the Memphis Grizzlies are ahead of you in terms of that in lottery projections. Like, if you're Billy Dolphin, like, well, do you just want to sit and just collect the check and just wither away in Chicago and just kind of, I don't say ruin your reputation, but it's just like, damn, man, you were this close going to the NBA Finals years ago, like a decade or so ago. You were back-to-back champion at Florida.
Yep.
I don't know. His name's popped up, B-Locke. Jay Wright's name has popped up.
I've seen that.
I'm anxious to see if that comes about. But my thing, he left because of NIL and transfer portal, all that stuff. So does he want to come back to that?
I think,
That's the thing.
yeah. Does he
Bill
want to?
Donovan
Yeah.
the same boat.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different college basketball world compared to the NBA. Now, at least with Donovan, he kind of used the guys coming in and out and stuff like that in the NBA for the past decade or so.
Yeah.
So, you got that little advantage right there if you're Donovan. It's like, okay, I kind of used to change. I'm kind of used to getting guys money and stuff like that. So I'm cool on that. But those two right there, I can't think of anybody else. You got anybody else in mind?
I mean, not really. I think my thing is, I'm just looking at Bill Donovan as this is a very good situation to be in because the Bulls are not going to the NBA Finals. I don't think they're going to I don't think they're going to be even close to it anytime. So like I said, the person that's showing out for this team right now is Josh Giddey. Nothing else really is going for the Bulls right now. I don't really see, and that's the kicker to moving on from Hubert is, you're gonna have to replace him, and you can because it is North Carolina. But I just don't see them hire. They got to hire somebody with a big name, in my opinion. I just don't see them not doing it. Now Jay Wright, does he get understanding of how the NIL deals work and transfer portal? Does he look at UNC as a place where, regardless, you're gonna probably benefit from the transfer portal because it's UNC? You're gonna have people that come into UNC regardless, and now the transfer portal makes it a hell of a lot easier. Does he consider it? But to me, I just don't see NC bringing in somebody that is not known. They got to be somebody with some type of name. I mean, hell, they tried it for football. So if they tried it for football, and football is trying to be on the uprising. So if they did that for football, who's not historically that good, probably been in the ACC championship maybe once in like 20 years. This basketball team has been consistently great for the past 20 plus years. So it's going to be very interesting who they bring in and who considers it. I just think maybe one of these teams still in the Final Four. Oh, I'm sorry, Elite Eight. They're Final Four. You're looking at that UNC job pretty hard. I mean, it's UNC. Like you got to look at it pretty hard and consider, like you said, you don't want to go anywhere, but I'm pretty sure there's jobs that most coaches are probably like, well, hell, if this job, and this job is open, I'm out. That's something I believe that they're thinking. So because you go to UNC, things change automatically. That's basketball country. So that's why, again, I don't think they hire somebody with a small name. They're not going to get somebody. They're going to get somebody that's well known, in my opinion.
We'll see how things shake out, And I think before we get out here, I think, like I said, J.J. Ottenberg, the coach of Iowa State, that's the name to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Donovan, the two names, Dusty May, Tommy Floyd, we see what happens there, but I just don't see those guys leaving, that quick. And then after that, you talking about Jay Wright, can you coax him out of retirement? That's a hard sell right there.
Yeah.
That's a hard sell. And after that, I don't know who you reach out to. So but like you mentioned, you got to get somebody like Kenny Smith mentioned. There's going to be a Tar Heel for the rest of their life, and also somebody, you got to compete with John Sire because he's got a nice recruiting class coming in next year. And, you know, he's close getting to that national championship spot. And UNC, you got to get this hire right, or if else, you know, you're going to be set back for a little while Duke, 5 minutes down the road, is like kicking ass in the ACC.
Yep.
So, a lot of questions, a lot of, you know, suggestions what's going to happen with this job here the next week or so. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us. Next week, I do want to bring up Will Wade in that situation because we can't, that can't be untouched. Because that the way I've been reading, it seemed like that being like a raw deal from the jump. But we got to discuss that next week because his press conference is tomorrow. So we'll see what, you know, he says, all that stuff there. But D-Lock, how do people find you on social media?
You can find me at Black-813. Still shocked on that win by UConn. So I definitely be talking about that. Final Four coming up, man. We're about to see who goes. Definitely be talking about that as well. Let them know they can find you on the show page.
You can find the show's page at Fast Break IESR. That's Fast Break IESR. Do follow me at Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288 on Twitter/X. I mean, retweeting a lot of stuff about Alabama basketball and the rise of data centers in this country as well. Do follow IESR Radio on all your social media feeds. Well, mainly X and mainly YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you do so, please hit the bell notification once we go live every Sunday. You get that notice that we're on live. Like I said, next week we're discussing Final Four. I know it's Easter weekend, so get your Easter fix with us. Also, like I said, discussing Will Wade, that situation, and also the NBA is struggling along. We'll discuss that as well. But thank y'all for tuning in with us. We'll talk to y'all next week. Have a great Easter week. Y'all do celebrate that. Peace.